What's on the menu tonight?
Well, let's talk about FanFare.
I meant the drink menu. Much more important.
Okay, we're doing it's a three-way. We're having a three-way here. I've got a bottle of cab that I need to finish, and I've got one glass left. Then I'm switching, which my parents always told me never to do, to a nice Oktoberfest. And if my throat gets scratchy because I caught my children's diseases from daycare, I've got some water to quench my thirst. So there's a three-way going on over here, and yeah, that's what's up. How about you?
Well, I think only two of yours count. We'll have the audience decide. Um, so I poured probably 52 minutes ago when you told me to prepare a drink and get ready. I
I know I
poured a
take
very,
forever.
very special, I guess you can call this brown liquor. This is a Glenfiddich. Am I saying
Mm-hmm.
it right?
Mm-hmm.
Glenfiddich.
Maybe.
Uh, it's a drink that begins with Glen, 14 year, which I thought would be special for tonight, and I did that for you. But the
You know I don't call it brown liquor. I call it brown liquid. But cheers, cheers to that. Boing.
the glass is very sweaty. It's been left out for a while, so
Um, I appreciate you being an adult and drinking some brown liquid tonight in celebration of the inaugural episode of this. What are we calling it, by the way?
man, I really want to call it only fanfares,
Yeah,
but
I get the
it could
pun.
go one of two ways. Either it's just a straight up lawsuit, and the whole podcast gets taken down, we lose it, or it's a lawsuit and we get pulled into indentured servitude with them, which has other terms that maybe we can't
Yeah,
say on the air.
I'm not interested in uh, only fanfare indentured servitude in that way, but the feet one I could get down with because, hey, no sweat off my back. I'll show you my feet all day if you want to look at them. So
So this recording has video, so you could put the metal to the mouth.
those are moccasins right there.
Yeah. To get
Oh, and those are
subscribers,
children's stickers on the bottom of my moccasins.
I thought they were like giblets from Crocs or whatever.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're tuning in, this is also a podcast about being dads because, yes, taking care of a 2.5-year-old and an 8-month-old drains me. I know Lawrence here. I can agree with that. Yeah.
So you may have put yourself in a trap because I'm curious about the plant behind you. Does it have a
Well,
name? Do you know what it is?
yeah, I call this plant Ladybug because there's a ladybug sticker on it, thanks to baby Frank. Yeah, it's fake. It's a fake plant, but it's
We'll edit that part
comforting.
out. We'll edit
It's
that part out.
comforting.
We won't let
Okay.
people know that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is this going to be like between two ferns? Does the plant now have to stay with us forever? But because it's
Between one
fake,
fern, just the one fern. That's all we got.
okay. So now we're
Yeah,
continuing on the name front. So now we have two name options.
between one fern and only fanfares. Okay, I'm writing this down on my my notepad. It's my child's artist. He's got a we would just roll it out and he writes on there. So yeah, but I took some notes. I'm ready to
That's
rock.
great. The cool thing
Well
about
prepared.
notes is this is all being recorded and uploaded to a server in China, it looks
I'm
like.
sure.
So,
I'm sure.
yeah, we can get those notes.
Yeah. Lawrence, I feel like I haven't talked to you in forever though. What have you been up to?
Well, I mean, you asked if we could talk about helicopters. I think my background already did that in. So,
Yeah, I see a helicopter back there. Uh, some other patches back there.
Yeah. So I'm still down here in Pensacola. I'm
Mm-hmm.
a naval reservist trying to earn a dollar to support my music business. And we should probably talk about what's coming at the end of the month.
Yeah, in about 18 days, 19 days here. Finally, after what, 3 years we've been working on this thing?
October of 2020.
Wow. So, yeah, basically 3 years. Um, Finally releasing our app called FanFare, the greatest music search engine ever created. Something I had been wishing for a very long time. And I don't think there's anything out there that can do what this thing can do. So
What are you most excited about in the app? What's the first thing you're going to do on August 31st?
I'm just going to go in there and lay claim to a bunch of different genres and links that I want my name to, because I just want people to understand how I think about music. And there's some classic stuff. So I grew up loving rap, even though I'm from upstate New York and there's not a rapper in sight up there. I grew up loving rap, and there's just so many different niches of rap music and ways to describe it that I think people will be open to. And yeah, so I'm going to go out there and start tagging and putting genres on things. And same thing with EDM. I love all sorts of techno music. One of the best features about FanFare is that, like, once you create an original tag, link, genre, your name is on it for perpetuity. And if you do a good job, man, people will love it. So I'm excited to get out there and start creating content.
So I'm going to backpedal just a little bit in case anybody listening doesn't really know anything about us. Fanfare will be released on August 31st to the iOS App Store. As Devin said, we've been working 3 years. And for me, it's going to be replacing Pandora, probably Spotify, and probably a few other music apps on my phone almost immediately.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into this, but it's, like you said, going to be my way to find new music. And I like that you're taking what I would call the influencer route, Devin. I know
Yep.
that you're going to be putting up some really interesting takes. I already follow you in the demo, so I'm ready to see what the full version Devin puts out to my newsfeed.
Why, thank you.
I'm
I hope
also
I do not let
really,
you down, but the general public will let us know if I am horrible at describing music.
I'm also really, I'm really excited to see your profile description. What did we settle
Hmm.
on? 141 characters.
Yeah, I think so. Um, Now I'm going to have to change it. I know what my profile picture is going to be, though. The
Well,
original.
yeah, you and every other user without a profile picture will have the same picture.
There you go. If you're listening to this, you found your first Easter egg. My profile, my face is the default photo for people. There you go.
What are you
Um,
doing in that picture?
so that was when I was living in Hawaii, and I was at a little dive bar called Smith's Union Bar in downtown Honolulu with a bunch of my squadron buddies. Um, Back when I was flying helicopters in the Marine Corps, and we loved this bar called Smith's Union Bar, and we would go there and sing karaoke all night long till 2, 3 in the morning, and then stumble back home 5 minutes to my place. Yeah, I was probably standing on the bar at that point. The bartenders were cool and didn't really care that we were doing that, but yeah. So Smith's Union Bar. If you're ever in Honolulu, please, please, please go there. You'll see all of our stuff up on the wall. But that kind of leads me to how we met. So you, Navy helicopter pilot, me, Marine Corps helicopter pilot, basically the same branch of the DoD. We met when we were flying helicopters in Pensacola, Florida together. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I want to get a little bit deeper into that because it relates how, and really what this podcast is all about, is how music is important to people. So I remember a conversation that we had where I gave you 5 of my favorite EDM sets of all time to look up. And I think that was probably the precursor to where we are now.
Yeah. And your depth of knowledge in the EDM scene kind of blew me away. And I was like, damn, how did this guy get to where he was? So you also used to be a DJ in New York, correct?
Yeah, New York, but really a lot of places. And I think I've taken advantage with the Navy, just the opportunity to kind of play in like weird places. But before I was in the Navy, it was New York, Providence, Boston, Worcester, Mass, and a few other Northeast cities. But just in like weird, not even not even weird. I mean, as I moved around, Jacksonville, Pensacola, stuff like that. But then weird spots like played in Andros Island, Bahamas once. Like I,
What?
oh yeah. So the all of the East Coast squadrons in Jacksonville basically take a yearly, semi-annual, whatever you want to call it, trip down to Andros Island, Bahamas. They have a sonar range down there, and
Yeah.
there's a whole,
Unclassified.
of course, there's a whole, there's a whole base down there with a civilian population that helps, and they have 3 or 4 bars on the island that are frequented by real life people, not just Navy fake people. Um,
Yeah.
so it's great. I mean, this goes in. Did you know that I was like I've been in bands in my life,
What instrument did you play?
primarily bass guitar.
You look like a bassist.
Why is that?
You got the face
You're right,
for
but
a
why is that?
background character.
Yeah,
It's the look. It's the look.
I've
You're
always
the
I've always
quiet
talked to this. Yeah, I've always
introvert.
yeah, exactly. I've always talked to this about people. It's like in my opinion, it's very hard to play the bass guitar and do anything else with your body. It takes a lot of effort to move those strings compared to any other type of guitar. So,
They're very heavy.
do you want me to ask you what instruments you play?
I did it for the chicks. Okay. Yeah, I did it for the chicks.
You did what? You
I
played
played
what?
clarinet. It's a far more classical instrument. I'm a sophisticated individual. All right. The clarinet got me closer to this girl I had a crush on in middle school. And that's also why I took French throughout middle school and high school. So a far more noble cause there, I would say, than
If
bass
she
guitar.
finds this podcast, is there
Oh
anything
God,
that you want to say to her in French? Just
absolutely not. No, I've forgotten all my French. Yeah, I'm old. I
what
don't have enough penguins up here to
what
remember
about
anything.
what about English?
No, no, don't feel like saying happily married. Don't feel like talking to old high school crushes. Thank you.
All right. Well, at least ask her to subscribe to the podcast
Yeah,
because
you know what? Hey, if you're out there, download FanFare, please.
um, real quick rollback to Hawaii. Do you know
Mm.
who's in Hawaii right now?
Mm-hmm. Our main man Joe, and
Yeah.
he's on Oahu, and he didn't even ask me where to go, and I would have sent him to Smith's Union Bar, but I also would have sent him some other good spots. And shame on you, Joe, for not talking to me before going out there with your girlfriend.
Uh, perfect. I wanted to get back to Smiths.
Mm.
What are your go-to songs?
All right, if I'm singing karaoke, I'm not going to lie. The reason I'm pulling up my phone right here, and if you're listening, you can't see this, but I have a list on my phone of, no kidding, maybe 70 songs. I'm going to scroll through it right here. There you go. See?
Well,
Yeah. It's literally, Lawrence, would you say that's like 70 or 80 songs?
is that like in your notes app?
Yeah, I just put notes of all my karaoke jams.
That's
And
incredible because
I
like
mean, I'm just going to rattle off a couple. I Will Survive. Oh, Don't Want to Miss a Thing by Aerosmith. Here's a fan favorite of mine from my college days, Kings of Leon, Use Somebody. Oh, man. Big Frank Sinatra fan, big Elton John fan. And you know what? Sometimes people just need a little bit of Beach Boys. All right. Throw in a little Beach Boys in your karaoke playlist, people.
a lot of those songs like definitely require vocal talent. And
Which I have none of.
I've never seen you I've never seen you sing, let alone karaoke. And now I'm adding to my notes app, find Devin, sing karaoke with him.
Yeah. You do not, I mean, they're challenging vocally, but I have zero talent and I still just give it my all. And people, I'm an entertainer. I just like to be in front of people on a mic. Put a mic in my hands and I'm gonna belt out some jams. DJ DK dropping beats on your bitch ass. All right, that's what I'm saying. So
Did you see that there's a mic in your hand right now?
yeah, and I'm enjoying myself. Earth, Wind, and Fire. Some September, dude. I can go on and on and on, but this,
I
yeah.
can't I can't hear that song without hearing like the recorder edit. Do you know what I'm talking
Oh
about?
no, but I know Jay-Z and Beyonce played that song at their wedding.
You haven't like on like an Instagram reel or anything like not even Earth, Wind and Fire, but just like any like meme song that has a like a flute recorder edit to it.
Hmm. No,
Oh man,
man,
I owe you I owe you some shares. Okay,
what a boomer I'm being right now. This is horrible.
I,
Um,
that's fine. We need you. We need you here.
we need people like me. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, karaoke's my jam. And that was one thing that we loved to do once we were done. Like, they were long days out there flying and we would just hit it hard on Friday night, head down there, cheap drinks, awesome times. Smith's Union Bar. Great place. It's been around since World War II. Like, people used to go there like way back in the day, in like the 30s. This bar's been around forever. It's crazy. But
Is it a big bar? Like
no.
what do you think the capacity is?
Okay, you walk in, bars on your right, there's a sliver of a hallway. In the back, the bathroom had like a shower curtain. The door was a shower curtain. It was smelt awful. You know where they put the ice chips in the urinal kind of thing? That kind of a place.
The
That's the kind of
dock
place this
at
was.
Pensacola Beach.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. It was pretty rough. Small, but the drinks were cheap and the mic was hot and it was a lot of fun. Great location too. Chinatown in Honolulu is the place to go. So
Was it a Marine Corps bar? Or was it just
I would
a locals
say,
bar?
yeah, kind of more like it's just a local dive bar. It was awesome. Um, but
Well,
just,
shout
yeah,
out to Smiths.
yeah,
We're gonna take a business trip to you. We're gonna bring back the genius voice of a generation back to you.
bam. I'll be there singing all night long. $1, $1 for karaoke. It's the best. Um, but should we get back to the idea of fanfare? What does this thing do?
I don't think people can't care about fanfare. What they care about is your voice. So we need to open up this podcast with a jingle. And I've always had this vision of you know what jingle I'm talking about. Every time you talk to me, do 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 do
I don't know. I'm just riffing right now.
fanfare. Yeah,
Fanfare.
just give me some jingles and then I'll just say in a monotone voice, fanfare podcast, and that's the jingle. Fanfare podcast.
No, that was horrible.
My part was horrible.
Do.
FanFare podcast. Only fanfares.
That was kind of like Seinfeld, wasn't it? Um, hmm.
You haven't even done the one. Like every time I call you, you're like do 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 do
Man, this is driving me insane that I can't think of.
do 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 do.
Oh. Wait, yes, because like Lori Lubu. That's what I always say when you call. Like, Lori Lubu.
Only fanfares.
Okay, I'll do it one more time, but I won't laugh at the end.
Only fanfares.
Okay, and if I can think of what you're actually talking about, we'll do it on the next episode.
Have you heard
Yeah.
about like what is it? AMSR, ASMR, AMS. Those videos where like people like
I think I've seen it once. Yeah.
but that's as soon as I got this microphone and I was testing it, like I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Now I've made it.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely have. This thing is legit. Is it heavy? Then it's expensive. Put it down. Yes, this is heavy.
Jurassic
We
Park
should put it
joke.
down.
Yep.
Jurassic
Yeah.
Park.
Nice.
Hey man, that's our generation. That's my content right there. Love me some JP. All of them.
I haven't even
Even
seen
the new stuff. That's trashy.
I haven't seen the I saw the first Chris Pratt one. I haven't seen any of the new ones.
It's it gets weird. There's one where it's like a House of Haunted Horrors dinosaur one, and I'm like, God, they're grasping at straws right now, man. But
Did you just say haunted horrors?
mm-hmm. Like it's a dinosaur auction in a big mansion. The dinosaurs escape. The power goes out. It's like Scream and Psycho and all that, all those old Alfred Hitchcock's movies just wrapped into one. Yeah. And the dinosaurs run around and it's like a house of haunted horrors,
Oh,
dino style.
horrors.
Horrors. Yeah. Horrors. Yeah.
When
My,
that word
is
is one
my
syllable, it means something different to me.
oh, okay. Is my New York accent starting to turn on here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
I didn't
damn it.
know. I, I just couldn't understand Jurassic Park 3 haunted horrors. I could see either direction. Jurassic Park haunted, Jurassic Park horrors, like, but
Yeah, you can go either way.
together, I was like, oh my god,
Jurassic horrors, only fanfares. I see what's happening. This is a trend here. This is a trend now that we're getting.
Hawaii,
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. Um but anywho.
So
But anywho.
I'm about to drop the next surprise on you. So
Mm-mm.
our first recurring segment on this podcast is something called On the Spotify, a play on the spot. So what you need to do, whatever your primary music app for listening to music, Spotify, Apple Music, take it out right now and tell me, just read down the list. Open up your search menu and I want to know the last 10 things that you've searched for. And if there are any funny stories or interesting things, we're just going to talk about it.
Okay.
So what is your app?
So I've recently swapped over to Apple Music. Reason being, they've had a couple of different live festival performances on here. So like Tomorrowland has been on Apple Music. You can watch all the main stage people, or sorry, listen to all the main stage people. And in my search history, the first one is Tupac because I could not stop listening to Tupac in high school. Then Elton John, go figure, because we know I'm a big karaoke guy. And specifically his song I'm Still Standing. And that is because Disney did the Elton John movie. So if you put Disney radio on your Pandora, sometimes the what is his name? Taron Egerton, the guy who played Elton John in the Disney movie,
Yeah. Hmm.
his rendition of that song comes up, and I was just jamming out to Elton, and I really wanted to hear that one. So
Surprisingly, very talented.
yeah, dude, he acted the shit out of that movie. That was fantastic.
There's a clip if you want to look on YouTube. Maybe you've seen it already, but it's him maybe performing Rocket Man at
Oh,
an Elton John benefit or something. But Elton John is there, and
I
in the
think they're
clip, you
buds.
well, I think this is the beginning of it, but you could
Yeah,
see in the clip Elton John's like authentic reaction to his talent, and it's a very interesting clip because I kind of saw that before I had even seen the movie, and I think I saw like King's Man, right? So like I think
yep,
that was my only exposure to him, and I saw that clip and I was like, that's super interesting. So
yeah. I think after the movie they became buds, and yeah, he knocks it out of the park. After that, we go into Dead Mouse. That's
I'm
the
gonna
next
pause you real
search.
quick.
Hmm.
Something interesting. So you talked about like Disney, like kind of bringing in Elton John to your like Pandora playlist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'd like to know your opinion on that. Like what?
It seems like it's out of their realm, but it's also something that I think Disney's capable. But as far as Pandora is concerned, when me specifically as a user is trying to find Disney songs, I'm obviously looking for stuff that my kid is going to like and that my kid is going to have watched. And so, why are they playing the Elton John movie stuff on the Disney radio station? So, this is a beef I have with Pandora that goes way back. I'm a big Frank Sinatra fan, we all know. And then I'll be listening to Frank Sinatra radio, and all of a sudden I'll get like an EDM song on there. There is no correlation between Frank Sinatra and EDM. Like, so the Elton John song populating on the Disney station, it's like, why did they play this? Or when like Lizzo comes on the Frank Sinatra station, I'm like, why the hell did they play this? So I think Pandora has just a bad habit of playing you what you like and what you've liked in the past and what you've listened to in the past. And that's something that FanFare is 100% going to overcome, because you can hyper search for whatever itch you need to scratch. And users will decide what is correctly sorted and correctly labeled versus just the Pandora algorithm. So, yeah, I think it's kind of silly that it popped up. Fortuitous that I like it, and it's fun to have dance parties around the house when that pops up with the kids. But it's like, come on, Pandora, like do better. Work on the algorithm. So that's one of the beef I have with like Pandora and Spotify is like you just get spoon fed stuff that is things you like and they know you like, but you're not able to find new stuff. And I know that Fanfare is going to 100% accomplish that. So yeah.
I tried to hop in there a few times, but clearly you are a rant of passion. So
Uh,
going back to the Disney piece, like I don't use Pandora very much because I got annoyed with it very early on. But like, could you like refine like so if you're looking for Disney, is there a way to like refine like it sounds like you're looking for kids Disney tracks or like specific movies? Is there a way to refine that?
yeah, I mean, you can like downvote the stuff that you don't want to listen to, or um, you can meddle in their station themselves. But like, that's also not the point of Pandora. Pandora is supposed to like find new stuff for you, but it seems like it's just searching out things you already like and they know you're gonna like, and it's kind of lazy. It seems like they're kind of resting on their laurels and not adapting. So
So maybe we could talk about the two areas that FanFare does that better.
yeah,
So we could start with, if I'm looking for a Disney song, first off, you can classify anything you want on FanFare. So any genre or tag, and tags are going to comprise any type of theme. It can go down to tempo, it can go down to key, it can go down to anything you want. It could be, I saw this at Tomorrowland 2023, and so your tag there would be Tomorrowland 2023, right? So it's interesting that Apple Music, you're able to watch these sets on Apple Music. You'll be able to find the same tagging capability in FanFare natively, which is great. But on the Disney front, you can break down all of that. Um, you can look for the Disney tag. You can do children's music genre. So right there, 2-click entries into the search. All you do is type that into the engine, and now you're just getting fed infinite songs that fit that category, right? So
yep. Like the Google search for music, man, it's going to make it so much easier.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm definitely excited in that front, right? So the second front, because you kind of talked about like Pandora spoon feeding you and giving you the options, right? Um, Surely you're going to be interacting with children's music on the app. You, Devin Kelly, right? So if I, if I meet you at Smith's Bar in Honolulu, or if I know you, if you've been my work friend for many years, and I know that you have a great Disney playlist, I can go to your I can go to your FanFare profile. I can find that playlist. I can follow you, and I can just go down infinite rabbit holes to kind of follow everything that you like, right? Which is going to be a huge benefit to if you don't want to be spoon fed stuff or if you do. So it's FanFare is going to give you that option.
Yep. Yep. I love it. Like the ability to scratch that itch and find exactly what you're looking for. It just doesn't exist anywhere else. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I know that you and I will be on each other's profiles trading dance music songs because that's basically how this whole thing began, right? So if people ever ask us what is the basis of this app, you're sharing music with people, but it goes so much deeper, as we just talked about. So,
Yep.
but I like this conversation that we're getting into of music that's important to people, right? And we're kind of going through your hits on Apple Music, and we talked about some of your genres and stuff. Um, so I kind of want to know, maybe we could make this into a segment, or it's just kind of my curiosity. But have you found any new music in the last week that you want to talk about? Talk about where you found it. It could be a song, it could be an artist. Is there anything that stands out to you in your mind?
There are a couple, and I kind of prepped ahead of time because I was like, what have I been listening to recently that I absolutely love? And there's this like one song called they're both sort of similar. This guy Bobby Green, and the song's called "Changing Me," and I would say it's like a crossover between EDM beats, but with like alt rock lyrics. And with like alt rock lyrics, the guys they're like singing about this girl they like, and they're kind of whiny about how they're talking about her, but in the background you just hear these like like these great dancing beats, and I'm like, oh god, this freaking song just hits. So Bobby Green, Changing Me. And then this one's another old one too, and it's fantastic. It's Love Bug, Resonance, and it's the same kind of like male lead vocals with that like a whining little pitch, but the the background beats just hit EDM style. And I think those two songs are something that I'm just like way into right now. So yeah, because of that similar vein, like EDM style song, but with more of like a rock, love, whining male lead vocals. So yeah, I'm into that. What about you? You got any like new faves or some top songs that define your musical taste?
We can definitely get into that. I have a few comments on just what you just said. So I looked up Bobby Green here. I'm
Yeah.
still using Spotify. Never heard of him, which is great. This is why I like you, why I like this app, right? So I'm finding out new things.
Mm.
Um, so Changing Me has just under 5 million streams, about 4.7 million streams on Spotify. And he has 43,000 monthly listeners on Spotify.
Huh.
Um,
Respectable.
yeah, so this is always what interests me, right? Is like when you find something new, I kind of like to know the scale of like how deep is this find. Um, 5 million streams, that's that's not a lot relatively. Bobby Green, if you're listening to this, that's a lot, but I would say that's a good find. But 43,000 monthly listeners, I would say is a ton relatively, right? So it's just interesting to kind of see that. If you were to put his stuff into FanFare, what would you? You talked about the themes a little bit, but I want to know what genres it falls under for you and what tags it falls under. And you could talk specifically about Changing Me.
Okay. It's tricky because like I said, it was a blend, but that's why it'll be easy to find exactly what you're looking for because I said it's got a crossover between EDM beats. So I'd probably put like,
Would you put EDM? Because
I would probably,
this is
I
the
don't
interesting
know
thing about FanFare. So
exactly. No.
let's talk about this for people listening. So because I and we when we were building the app and we had the team and we talked with Roxy and everybody else,
Mm,
we always had conversations about how every user is going to interact, and everybody had a lot of different ideas, which I think is going to make this app a lot of fun.
hmm.
So for me, maybe somebody a little bit more analytical, just from what you said, not even having listened to a song, I would put EDM and I would put alternative, which would be super interesting, right?
You
Um,
would do two genres. You
two
would do
genres,
EDM and then another genre alternative.
yeah. But another person, I'm curious to hear what your take is. Another person might do.
Raising my hand.
Let's go. I'm not even gonna give it away. What do you got?
I want to make up a new one
Okay.
and I would call it like EDM alt rock.
So this is why I think fanfare is going to be so interesting. In the same way that I look at the stats on Spotify, we look at the amount of streams and the amount of monthly listeners. All the things that we just talked about on the fanfare side are going to be able to be liked by users, right?
Yes.
So when I come to a song on Spotify and I look at those metrics, people are going to come to fanfare and they're going to look at whatever metrics are important to them, right? But it's going to be a whole different set. So I want to pause here for the listeners. Fanfare interacts with Spotify and Apple Music. So it's actually pulling music from their databases, and you can stream it from either of the sources that you use. You can get previews within the Fanfare app. You could play the whole song within the Fanfare app. So it's pulling all their streaming data. The stuff I was talking about with Bobby Green, the number of streams that he has, the monthly listeners, that's all contained within Spotify, and we complement that. But we're going to have our own set of metrics in Fanfare. And that's going to come down to likes. And you can like a tag, you can like a genre, you can have a whole commentary on songs, and you can also link songs together. All that could be liked, and that's going to be the Fanfare metric. So Devin's going to create his own genre. I'm going to be a little bit more maybe black and white, but that's what's so interesting about it is we'll just see what gets more likes, right? And the benefit, regardless, is that somebody down the line is going to be able to either find that one brand new genre that Devin created, alt EDM, or somebody who's like, man, I want some EDM and I also want to search for stuff with alternative influence. Whatever your look is, Fanfare is going to be able to provide that, right? And I'm really
And I'm
excited to see those
and I don't
avenues.
even know if I'm accurate. And some people might get guided onto it because they're a follower of me or a follower of Bobby Green, and they might come up with something completely different that you and I can't even think of right now. And because the way you interact with Fanfare is you go to a song you like sometimes, and then you go from there and you see how people have categorized it, or you see how people have like linked it to other songs. It allows you to explore how other people think about music, and that's a huge benefit of the app.
Yeah, absolutely. The avenues that you can take are pretty endless. We're going to be able to satisfy the people that want to go really in depth, but we're also going to be able to satisfy the people who just want to come on the app and get just recommendations without doing anything.
Yep.
I think our Explore engine is really good for that, just providing straight up recommendations.
Yeah, totally.
So the follow on question that's important with Bobby Green, who I'm excited to listen to after this podcast, is how did you find this music?
Oh man. Um, it's tricky because YouTube sometimes gives me recommendations, and you really got to go to the bottom of, scroll all the way to the bottom and like try to find something. And the trouble with that is it doesn't give you any like identifiers on what it is. It just knows that other people have listened to something similar to what you're currently listening to on there. So I had to just kind of like dive in there and and find it. It just seems like it's really hard nowadays to find new music that isn't mainstream and isn't just pushed to you because someone paid the promotional dollars. So yeah, I had to dig around to find these two songs. So a bit of a challenge that I hope Fanfare simplifies.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying about YouTube because anytime I listen to music on YouTube, and it's generally going to be unofficial remixes, right? Stuff that I can't find on Spotify or Apple Music. I'm on YouTube for that because somebody's going to post it. Um, YouTube will kind of get in like a playlist mode. So sometimes, say I YouTube Bobby Green after this. I've never listened to it on YouTube. The next song that's going to come up if I let that video play through is another song that I've listened to because it just goes back to my music playlist without me setting up anything. That's just how it's going to work. And if let's say I'm looking for a video on how to clean a gun, then all the options that are going to pop up on YouTube are like gun videos, and it's just kind of out of my control, right? So um, I think you really hit that nail on the head. So
Yeah, it's it's just tough to find new music, and so what
it's the
we've tried to
downside.
do,
It's the downside of algorithms, is what it comes down
yeah,
to. Is that like robots are getting too big? I'm not. I'm obviously not anti-tech. I own a tech company with you, but I just think the human aspect has been completely taken out of it. Um, Personally, like I think SoundCloud is just about the most human music player left, and
yeah,
even they're a little hard to work with sometimes. But it,
we've talked about this before, man. Like music is a human thing. It's not a AI or robotic thing, and I still think that people are the most capable of describing the emotions, the feelings, and the the gist of what we get out of music. It's like algorithms can find the connections between certain things, but to describe and paint the picture of what the artist is trying to portray to the listener is so unique to humanity. It's just, yeah, algorithms just don't get it right. And especially with the influence of money nowadays, like if you just want to promote your song, I'm sure it's easy to get on Spotify or Apple Music and just say, hey, like, here's some cash, promote my stuff. And what that's what FanFare is going to cut out, because we're going to let humans just take the reins and run wild. And, you know, obviously paint between the lines a little bit. We're not going to allow ridiculous, we're not going to allow like racist or profanity or any of that kind of stuff on there. That's just awful. So what FanFare is going to do is, give the power back to the people and let them categorize music as they see fit.
So I was going to take a plug, but I'm going to come back to it. So remind me that I have a plug to come back to, because you
Okay.
just brought up the racism piece, right?
Yeah.
So a really unique, like empirically unique thing about FanFare is our profanity filter. So for those of you that don't know, every major app, um, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, any major social media
You
platform.
mean X?
If I say Twitter on the radio
Everybody knows
waves,
it.
are you going to see FBI people roping into my house and cutting an X into my forehead?
Never mind. Anyways.
Okay. So all of these major social media platforms have basically a profanity filter that they honestly acquire and share through GitHub. GitHub is a picture like a Dropbox. I'm really simplifying this. Anybody tech that's watching this is going to kill me, but think of it like a Dropbox, and they're pulling this profanity filter. They call it a blacklist off GitHub. They upload it into their apps, and I think the last I looked, it's like 500 phrases, words, and stuff, and that's what they're filtering out. So FanFare, when we were presented with that option, we actually kind of took a, I would say, more proactive route. Um, and what this goes back to is what we were talking about in the soccer world with the use of like the gorilla emoji, right? How people
Yeah.
are using that as like racially oppressive, especially on Twitter X, and why there's nothing being done about these bot profiles, unverified profiles. So the way that FanFare is going to prevent that is everybody's going to be verified. You have to either sign up with Apple, a phone number, and that's just going to help eliminate bots right off the bat. Our profanity filter, I think, currently stands at like 900 phrases and terms. So we're looking at case studies where phrases have been used in situations that have no other social media engine has taken action, and we're blocking out those phrases. It's not stuff that like has a dual meaning. It's very clearly oppressive, and we're just getting rid of it. So there it is.
Yeah.
Now,
Um,
the problem with that rant is I completely forget what plug I was just going to give. And I told you to remind me about it.
yeah, I even wrote a note down.
God. What were
Man,
we
what were
talking
we
about
talking?
before that?
I don't
Jesus
even
Christ.
know. What does your shirt say, by the way?
Can you read it
Dance,
backwards?
dance or leave.
Yes. So this is my,
Is that what you wear when you're DJing?
yeah, I'm oppressive. You're going to dance or you're going to leave.
You're gonna get out of the club.
Yeah.
Lawrence, are you still DJing, by the way?
So you may not realize, but you're actually in the room that I used to stream on Twitch. Do you want to describe that room to people who haven't seen my Twitch streams?
I lived vicariously through your Twitch streams during COVID. So thank God for all the technology that came about for remote broadcasting. And I'm a huge EDM lover, and so is Lawrence. So when we met and then COVID struck, did you like that sound effect? That was good. Thank you. Um, he just was like, I can't help myself. I need to DJ. And I was like, dude, put it on Twitch. What did we get? Did we get like 13, 14 people tuning in? And it was like, there was a couple of randos too. We had a couple folks like outside of our circle that were like, this is fire. Like, this is so good.
Okay,
And
for the chat, because you're insulting me right now. It was way more than that. I was a Twitch affiliate, so if
oh,
anybody knows
wow.
the requirements to become a Twitch affiliate, I had way more like active listeners than that. Um, I could look up the stats too, but like when I was streaming on Reddit, Devin, at one point I had like 20,000 unique listeners, like on any one
What?
of those streams. Yeah.
Oh my God. Dude,
So I'll
that's
pull.
amazing. So
So
back to your setup though. Your setup was insane. You had a million different lights because you used to also DJ weddings. And so the light displays were just awesome. You had graphics going on in the background. You had freaking lasers, freaking sharks with laser beams were jumping out of pools in front of your DJ setup and just firing off the laser beams. It was awesome. And what is this? What is it? Reddit, your access, your broadcast ended. 27,803 unique watchers. Wow. You were on air for an hour and 10 minutes. 27,000.
and I have the screenshot so the chat can. I think at one point you said 13 people listening. So
Yeah, that was, yeah, 13. Yeah. Dang. Okay. That's good. That's good. I'm
and
impressed.
COVID was unfortunate because I had just so when I was a student here in Pensacola, it was like always my dream, and I hustled for like a few gigs. I didn't really have much time back then, but when I came back, I was always like, I need to set up a recurring instance, and I finally got that when I showed up here at a place called Redfish Bluefish
Oh, I love
on
that bar.
Pensacola Beach.
That's the
Uh,
best.
iconic, iconic views of the bay, sunset,
Yep.
just absolutely perfect.
Great lawn setup too. They got the games in the fire pits back there.
Yeah, and I think I did like two shows. Call it like March of 2020, and then everything just went
Right
terribly. So
right before it popped off.
yeah, and
Man.
I had put in a lot of prep work for that effort. So
Yeah.
when COVID hit, like you said, I was just like, I need to release this. So
Mm.
thank God for technology, like you said, Twitch and everything else. We're able to continue that, and we're now in the same room, broadcasting, talking about music, but we're going to bring it to a much bigger level. So
Yeah. I can't wait.
now I remember the plug. I did it.
What's the plug?
So, and this is going to be so off track, which most of this podcast has been already, but um, if you rewind to the part I was talking about the plug, it flowed well. And here's what I want to say for anybody listening. On future episodes, what we're looking for is guests. You don't have to be a musician. You don't have to have followers on social media. I just want people that have an interesting story about music, a connection with music, and they can explain to me why music is important in their lives. I just want to hear it. So if you know anybody that is passionate about music or has an interesting story, send them our way. You can find us
Yeah.
on social media. We're on Instagram. Is going to be your first point of contact, FanFare Music app. And we share the same handle on TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook. Or you could reach out to Devin and I personally, and we'll get it done. We're looking to do this podcast pretty frequently, open format. You don't have to stay on with us for an hour, but we just want to talk to you, and it's going to be fun.
Seriously, I think you can learn so much about people just asking them like, Okay. What's your favorite song? What do you like about that song? And if you could find more stuff exactly like that, like how would you describe it? And that's what fanfare is all about. It's just like how can we describe music to each other and find new stuff. I'm stoked. Can't wait to see who our first guest is going to be. Maybe we'll have
Well,
one next
I
week.
was I was actually going to talk about that. So the ideal guest, and it's funny because I've known you for so long. We've had a few situations on this podcast already where I found out things about you that I didn't necessarily know or I want to dive deeper into. So I think the only thing that we can correctly do is episode 2, special guest star Devin.
All right, done. Bring it.
And maybe you'll be so interested in me that episode 3 you can talk to me.
I can ask you some questions. I'm sure I can come up with some stuff.
So for the listeners, you only have to bear with us for 3 episodes
3 episodes.
where you only hear our voice. And by episode 4, new direction, new season, season 2 of Only Fanfares podcast, we're going to have
Only
our first
fanfares.
human, live, non-robotic, interesting guest.
Your voice has sounded surprisingly not robotic. And I've just really enjoyed watching you forcefully break out of your shell because you are such an introvert on the phone. You are not like this at all. It is straight business, very curt, very quick. This must be
Why?
the brown liquid is doing its job. Look at you go. All right. I like this, Lawrence. This is good stuff. Ooh,
That
look
was a
at that
big sip.
grimace. That is a grimace and a half. Woof.
Yeah. As soon as we turn this recording off, I'll tell you about the last time I drank. Great story.
I can't wait to hear it. This is awesome.
So what we'll close with, do you have any guests in mind? Because I actually do have, outside of the people on the screen right now, I do actually have a few guests that I could possibly preview. I don't want to give away too much, but have you thought about anybody that you're going to feature?
Hmm. 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 There's a
Because
couple. There's a couple that come to mind. Like, do I want to target somebody that's a musician? Do I want to target someone that was like, I don't know, an investor? Do I want to target somebody who uh, is just excited about this? I could bring on my best buddy who introduced me to EDM. He's from New Jersey. He is exactly what you think of as New Jersey, but thank God for New Jersey because they do love EDM, and my passion for it came from him. So I don't know. Maybe I would bring him on.
weird, because guess where I was born?
Disgusting New Jersey.
Mhm.
Sorry,
Yeah,
we
I
just
mean,
lost the entire New Jersey population after I called them
it,
disgusting.
no, we're used to it. But it's crazy that you're, dare I say, the 2 biggest EDM influencers in your life were born in New Jersey.
Yeah,
So does
it's
it have to be
awful.
a dual feature episode where at the end you have to decide who is a bigger influence on you, and the person that's not a bigger influence will die?
What is this like Saw or like Hunger Games for for New Jersey and who lives
So,
and who
so,
dies?
so yeah. So this is where this microphone is
Or
good.
Gladiator? Thumbs
I
down.
want to play a game.
Oh my god.
Speaking of deep, beautiful voices, the first guest that I'm going to feature on my end, you've met
Joe?
him, you all know him, Joe Planamura, other Joe, deep
Yeah,
voice
other
Joe.
Joe. Yeah,
Yeah,
deep voice Joe, not attorney Joe.
a musician, a big music person, but more importantly than all of those other things, very, very entertaining person. And we're not even gonna have to write a script for that episode. He's just gonna write it. So
You're
that's
just
the
going to want
preview.
to listen to his voice because it's way better than both of ours and deep
I
and delicious.
I have been saying for so long, and he's actually tried a few voice acting things. He just super talented guy, super great guy, fantastic life. If he never makes it to the screen and stage with that voice, it's just a loss for Earth. So maybe we could be the slingshot. Uh, we can get him one of these
Yeah.
microphones, and
Wow.
uh, it's just going to be fantastic. So a lot to look forward to. I think we'll sign it off there, but I
Yep.
think it's important that we close out with our jingle, which surely you have memorized by now,
Oh
and
God, I already
you're
forgot
ready
it.
to just throw it out. So
Uh,
signing off, episode
ooh.
1, Devin and Lawrence. We're looking forward to seeing you next time.
So I gotta pretend I'm calling you. Larry Lubu.
Only fanfares.